Goeienaand, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. Now, just yesterday, I posted a video suggesting that people put their spare cash, if they're lucky enough to have some, into Krugerrands, gold Krugerrands, physical ownership of gold Krugerrands. And the reason I suggested that is because it's quite clear the rand is not going to strengthen in value. It's going to probably collapse in value by the end of this year. So we're living in very troubled times in South Africa, because you can imagine how that's going to impact on the impoverished people of South Africa. It's going to be quite devastating. Now, just to give you some more updates on this whole situation when it comes to the South African economy, the International Monetary Fund is the latest key institution to slash its growth forecast for Africa's most industrialized economy, which may have fallen into its second recession in as many years. It now expects the economy to expand by 0.7% in 2019, half of what it estimated in January, and similar to forecasts by the South African Reserve Bank and Bloomberg Economics. Now, attached to this intro, there's a video where you can hear a fellow saying that it's highly likely that Moody, the last ratings agency that has held the rand above junk, is going to degrade it to junk. And when that happens, you don't know where the rand's going to go. It might be 20 rand to the dollar, which will be a huge drop. And you can imagine if you're holding gold, your rand value is going to increase by the same amount, because it's based on US dollars, the price of gold, that is. Anyway, getting back to the story. The South African economy shrank the most in a decade in the first quarter of this year, as the nation suffered the worst power outages since 2008. The National Treasury, which forecast a growth of 1.5% in the February budget, is expected to lower its predictions in the October midterm budget, while the World Bank's 1.1% estimate seems to be an outlier. It was published as part of its mid-year Global Economic Prospects Outlook on the same day that Statistics South Africa released data showing a much bigger than expected contraction for the 3 months through March. South Africa is stuck in its longest downward business cycle since 1945. Data from the central bank showed in June. So there you have it. Look, economically, South Africa is in a very, very bad place. And, you can only blame the politicians. They have totally mismanaged South Africa for 25 years. And that is obviously the ANC government who are at fault here. All right, guys, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell for updates, and here comes the video.
Eskom's 59 billion rand bailout is likely to come at even greater cost. Experts say the chance of a credit rating downgrade is high. Yesterday, the IMF cut South Africa's growth forecast, citing bailouts to SOEs, and the most being to Eskom as primary reasons. Eskom will receive the multi-billion rand over the next 2 years.
We could just unpack the risk of Eskom. There are two levels that I think are important. The first one is that we need electricity. If we don't have electricity, the economy cannot operate. And we saw what happened a number of times in the past when we didn't have electricity and the impact on economic growth. So it's absolutely crucial that we have to make sure that we have electricity, the economy, to work. That's the first one. The second one has to do with finance. Eskom is financially so deep in trouble, I can't see how we're going to, well, it's not going to be easy to save it. The Minister of Finance is trying to do that. But on top of that, we have the state itself that is hugely in debt. And currently, the fiscal deficit is likely to exceed the budgeted estimates by a huge, huge margin because of reasons like, for example, Eskom, SABC, and Danel, and the like. So in the process, what happens, the state keeps on borrowing more and more money, and eventually the whole thing will fall over. Where that specific level is, of course, that will depend on the rating agency to rating agency. But I'm afraid to say that I cannot see how we're going to avert a downgrade this time around. It's only Moody's that still got us an investment rating. The other two guys already downgraded South Africa to so-called junk. And I've got a suspicion that Moody's will say, enough is enough, we have to downgrade.